Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the KAIJU CATACLYSM. I'm DREAGEN.
I'm Ashley.
And yes, as you can see, I finally managed to lure her back on. We've been very busy with the process of moving, and she's been spearheading a lot of it here at home. So she's had an excuse as why she's missed class. So all credit to her. But anyway, wanted to do kind of another shorter one. Kind of with the looming possibility of the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer coming, which I believe it comes out, from what I've rumors, expecting this month, if not pretty goddamn soon. I kind of wanted to just really quickly touch upon just some of the general discussions people have been having about this movie, particularly, again, how Kong is going to fight Godzilla. And I know this is not a new topic of conversation. It was kind of the topic of conversation ever since it was announced that they were going to go head to head. And I have a little bit of a theory why I think that's going to happen. Now, as Kong stands right now, I don't think he can fight Godzilla, nor do I think he's a contender. But, and by the way, spoilers, not that we haven't already spoiled Godzilla, King of the Monsters, but this is the first edition of the KAIJU CATACLYSM you've watched. You haven't seen that movie yet, you might want to watch it first. But the post-credit sequence shows Alan Jonah basically buying one of the severed heads of King Ghidorah. It was said that he was basically kind of in this black market business of trading and selling kaiju DNA. And Mike Dougherty, the director, even said that Ghidorah's DNA is like the key to everything, unlocking this, future of genetic horror with giant monsters. So here's my thought. We always joked about that, and when Godzilla fought Kong in '62, they had to nerf Godzilla, because apparently something in that movie, Godzilla had an allergy to electricity that we've never seen before or after. But Kong, aside from being bigger, had these weird electricity powers, and we were always like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, I mean, I guess okay, why not? I mean, Godzilla has atomic breath, sure. Kong, rubs his feet on the carpet and zaps it, sure. Why not? But it was almost kind of random, because the mythology of Kong prior to that, like, okay, Kong's claim to fame was that he fell off a building, and suddenly he's like, zap, zap, zap. Okay. Well, what's Ghidorah's power? He breathes lightning. He's got all these lightning electricity abilities. And now Alan Jonah has access to, in theory, Ghidorah's DNA. Yeah. So I'm wondering if they're going to genetically enhance Kong. And before some people say, no, that's dumb, because I put a thing on Twitter about that, and a lot of people said it was cool. A few people said, that would never happen. Well, why wouldn't it? Because, I'm sorry, I don't think as Kong stands now, he can be a contender. And a lot of people have had people say, no, that's not true. Kong can win the fight. Kong should win the fight, which, no, he shouldn't. Sorry. This is a safe place for Godzilla fans. If you're a Kong fan, I'm just messing around. I'm just teasing folks. Relax. But seriously, Godzilla. But here's the thing. During the whole situation when Ghidorah was taking over, and he had all the other Titans under his control, and they even asked it was right after they used the oxygen destroyer on Godzilla, and they were like, well, is there any other creature that could stand a chance against Ghidorah? At no point did Kong come up in the conversation. And mind you, Kong is not like some forgotten thing. It's not like the events of Skull Island were, mysterious. No one. Skull Island's out there. Monarch knows about it. Monarch is just monitoring. And Kong's awake. Kong was not even a dormant one. He's just walking around Skull Island. We've known about him for decades.
He's chilling in his pad.
He's grown bigger since then, so we know how big he is now. And with all that known, at no point was like, hey, what about Kong? And I think the reason why Kong's name never came up as a possible solution, because as Kong is naturally, he, would never stand a chance against King Ghidorah, and B, wouldn't even be able to kind of fill Godzilla's shoes, both literally and metaphorically speaking. So I don't think the Kongs are this super alpha race of Titans. And I know some people say, well, Kong's an alpha. Yeah, Kong's alpha on Skull Island. He's a big fish in a very small pond. He's dealing with skull crawlers. Godzilla is dealing with giant space dragons. Yeah. So the Kongs, I get it, King Kong's iconic. I understand that, but at the end of the day, he's, as O'Shea Jackson Jr. eloquently put it, you took a normal animal and made it bigger. Ooh, end quote. And I'm inclined to agree. I think Kong was an important stepping stone in the history of giant monster films that eventually got us to Godzilla. But ultimately, that's what Kong is. Whereas Godzilla is a proper monster. You know, he is, you know, the evolution of that concept. So I think if you just arbitrarily just, you know, make Kong super all of a sudden, it's like, okay, well, the mythology that's been created for the Monsterverse isn't really setting the Kongs up. I mean, the Kongs were wiped out by the Skullcrawlers. Yeah. All of which...
Oh, and he's the last one, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as we know.
Yeah.
But if his entire species was wiped out by the Skullcrawlers, and King Ghidorah is more powerful than every... By the way, excuse me, I have to go yell at my cat for one moment. Cat, away! Get off thing!
We're literally surrounded by boxes. Yeah, the sides right here.
We're like watching, you see our cat's looking at it, and I'm looking at the cat and being like, guys, don't do it. Don't do it. And the cat's like, I'm gonna get on this fucking box right now. But anyway, so that's my point, whereas Ghidorah is like more powerful than every Skullcrawler combined, even the big ones. So I think it's a situation of, right now, Kong was not brought up because Kong, no one would think, oh yeah, Kong can do it. No, he can't. But what happens now that, you know, essentially Alan Jonah's plans are kind of ruined, Godzilla has essentially brought stability to the world. Humanity is not being kind of wiped out like he kind of wanted to, let's be real. So Godzilla's kind of a problem. It's like, well, Godzilla's not really doing what we wanted him to do. Godzilla's kind of just maintaining the status quo, whereas we wanted what Ghidorah was going to do, where Ghidorah was just going to just fuck up everything. So we need to do something about Godzilla. Well, is there any other type that can stand against Godzilla? No, at least not as they are, naturally. But now we have Ghidorah's DNA.
Well, and the fact that they went out of their way to mention that there was like pharmaceutical companies, like government weapon companies that were interested in the Titan DNA, like, I don't know...
Weaponizing them, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they would specifically mention that. I mean, if they had no intention of maybe delving into that more.
Yeah, and I kind of look at the Kong, I mean, aside from them being really big, they're essentially just big primates. I get it, they probably have some nuclear energy in them too, because that's how they kind of establish it in the Monsterverse. All Titans are big because of that. But as a whole, they would be on the lesser end of that. So I think once you get past the size aspect of Kong, he is essentially just a big primate. So because of that, I feel like they would look at almost him as being more of like a petri. He's more of like a blank slate. You can kind of make more of a monster out of him in your own making because he's less of a monster than even the other ones. And you look at something like Rodan, which is living in a fucking volcano.
Yeah.
You know. Mothra, who's a god. You know, goddess, yeah. I mean, Godzilla, which is like, well, he's Godzilla. You know what I mean? So with Kong, I feel he's a little bit more, he's more malleable. It's like they're looking at him like, okay, we can build more off of him. You know, on his own, he's not as amazing to look at.
I just picture they make him a giant suit of armor. He just goes raging into battle.
Hey, they had a Mechanicon back in the day, or just give him like an armored, like a mech suit, like a battle suit. I would not be opposed to that. If that's how Kong, like, if Kong's
that's
like,
how it turns out.
Kong has like an Iron Man suit, just formal. I'd be like, you know.
I mean, I was thinking more like a knight outfit, like armor.
You can make it look whatever you want. But point is, if Kong shows up in a full suit of armor, I am not gonna have a problem with that. By the way, I'm just saying. But and I think that's what's gonna. And Kong has always been a tragic character. I mean, the history of Kong, where Godzilla was meant to represent like, you know, nuclear terror and basically kind of like forces beyond forces beyond mankind's control, kind of lashing back. Godzilla is a consequence to our hubris, our arrogance. Kong was always kind of meant to originally was meant to represent the death of the American dream. You know, America was considered this. It was supposed to be the
bummer.
Yeah, America was like the shining land, the new world, land of golden opportunity, and then the Great Depression hit, and it was kind of for a lot of people the death of the American dream. So when you see Kong falling off the Empire State Building, it's the fall of the American dream. It's Kong was king of his world. The Lost World was this great, amazing world, you know, where he was king, and essentially the modern age killed his world, killed Kong. And the Great Depression was kind of like, you know, reality, a hard reality check for the United States. It's like, guess what? You're not above this. You can be brought to your knees. You can be defeated. You can fall. So Kong has always been built in tragedy. His whole his allegory has been that of tragedy. So the idea, everyone says, well, the tagline for the movie is, you know, one will fall. And again, a lot of people are like me are worried that, okay, they're going to do the thing again. Godzilla has to be the one who loses. Why? Because Kong is a primate, and because his face can make a smile, therefore he's more relatable, and therefore he has to win. I'm like, well, this is Godzilla's franchise, first of all. We didn't, as fans, didn't want, you guys fighting to get the rights from Toho just so you can, make Godzilla look like a bitch. And I know they're not going to kill him off, but still, as a Godzilla fan, I don't want Godzilla to lose. And I know in 1962, technically, the script says he lost, but that was Godzilla's third film. Godzilla was still just a symbol of nuclear terror, and Kong was still a more popular monster. That, and quite frankly, regardless of what the script says, I say that Kong is very, very good at swimming away, because that's what I saw. I saw him swim away, but I'm not going to get into that whole discussion. But my point is, since then, a lot has changed. Godzilla has way more film. Godzilla has become a bigger icon. Also, this is Godzilla's franchise, so... And I don't really actually think it behooves anyone really to go. And again, this is not going to be a straight up brawl too, because again, Godzilla's already faced off bigger, more powerful opponents. So this is going to be a different kind of fight. I think this is going to be a more tactical fight, because I've already said that, Godzilla's not going to just take this victory, no problem. But again, I think Kong is going to be a very different kind of fighter for Godzilla. He's going to be more of, pardon the pun, but guerrilla warfare, where, you've seen... Well, it's kind of like I know. But for instance, look at when the United States fought in Vietnam. We were a more physically superior military force, but why was this force losing? It's because they were fighting an enemy that was using, more tactics, using its environment to their advantage, using more strategy. Because if it was just two sides fighting in an open field, well, the bigger, more powerful side is going to just win. So the other side had to be more clever. So I think this is going to be more of a fight where Kong knows he can't just beat Godzilla in a straight up brawl, because they've already showed the size of this Kong full grown. He's still not as big as Godzilla. He's still not going to be as strong as Godzilla. So this is going to be a different kind of versus movie. It's not going to be just a straight up
strength contest.
Yeah, because I think they've already said strength contest, Godzilla wins.
Well, technically, doesn't Godzilla basically not control the rest of the monsters, but they listen to him because he's the alpha.
Well, and that's what I'm kind of wondering too. Is Godzilla gonna kind of be sitting
have his squad?
That's what I'm wondering. Godzilla's gonna look at a Kong bitch, please, let me handle this fool real quick. Or is it gonna be a situation again where the Titans are gonna be okay, there's a challenger, okay, but we're gonna stand back and see who the winner is.
Well, and also I know we were mentioning too, to kind of level the playing field, maybe because of in King of the Monsters, he kind of has that nuclear meltdown, so to speak, if he's going to be weakened after. So,
well, again, maybe that's in keeping with the tradition of the 62 film, where they, gave Kong a weird new power, but they also nerfed Godzilla. Well, maybe that could be a thing too, because he beat Ghidorah, but he was probably spent after that fight, and I'm wondering if he's still recovering. It was probably the biggest.
I guess it just depends. Did they say how many years after? Or
I think it's going to be directly after, because again, Millie Bobby Brown's character.
that would make sense.
Is in it, and she's got to look. If she doesn't suddenly look like she's 10 years older, then
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's more or less that could be a way too. Again, if there's going to be a situation where I hate, as much as it disgusts me to vomit these words up out of my mouth, where Kong beats Godzilla, if you do it in such a way where, Kong has gotten it's almost like Kong is juicing. They gave Kong an advantage where he normally would not have that. Yeah, he's the juice. Jesus. But in a situation where this Kong is way more powerful than he should be, unnaturally speaking, and combined with Godzilla being weakened from his last fight, it's okay. Because then it's technicality. Technically he wins, but it wouldn't be a blow to a Godzilla fan's pride. And it's not like you see Kong just overpowering Godzilla. I don't want to see that. And I know some people are going to be well, you're just a Godzilla fan, but I think we can all call bullshit on that. I mean, Godzilla is clearly
he can literally survive. Well, that's the thing, is King Kong, does he eat nuclear energy too?
We don't really know. Based on what we see in the Monsterverse, we don't know. I think
I was going to say Godzilla's literally survived nukes, but I'm I guess... Wait, that's the thing. King Kong got burnt in the last... in Skull Island, Whereas Godzilla, like,
Takes,
you know,
just feeds on nuclear
Clink,
explosions.
clink, clink.
And that's my point. I mean, I know they say Kong is bigger. Yeah, he's bigger, but he's still made of the same stuff. Like, again, a tree that is, 6 feet tall versus 100 feet tall can still burn if you set it on fire. One will burn up faster, but it's not like the wood is not flammable once it grows up. It's still made of wood, it'll still burn. If Kong is being skin can be cut by propeller blades and his fur can be burned with fire, well, that's not going to change just because he's taller.
Yeah.
He's still vulnerable to just basic physical. That's what I'm saying. Kong felt
Well, and
more...
that's the thing. I mean, they've made it clear that, the Titans are sentient. They're smart. They're not dumb animals, so it's not like you could even say, Kong could outsmart Godzilla, so to speak.
I know, that's always been the thing. Well, Kong is smarter than
they've established they're all sentient and incredibly smart.
Which, again, I think it's just because, again, we saw Kong when he was younger, so he didn't have all these years of just, like...
experience.
Where he just... Godzilla's, like, 500 million years old or something ridiculous like that in this continuity. You're surprised that he's not around looking, giving a shit about every little, ant. The fact that he looked at them at one point, that was probably the first time in thousands of years he actually, like, bothered to look, kind of really check out a human being and maybe give a passing interest. Like, he doesn't care because he doesn't have to. It's not that he's incapable. He just doesn't. Why would you? Like, if you woke up and you saw, like, an ant crawling in front of your face, are you going to sit there and look at that ant and wonder, what are you feeling right now, buddy? Who are you? What's important to you? You don't fucking care. Like, you don't care. We're ants to him. He doesn't care. And also, too, the way his features are, they're less, anthropomorphic. Therefore, if Godzilla's happier about something, he's not going to be smiling, or if he's great. When Kong grimaces, it looks more human. Yeah. So I think people are saying, well, he's clearly more intelligent because you can see it on his face. Well, no, it's just his facial features as a primate. Yeah. We're primates, too. Therefore, there's going to be more similarities. Doesn't mean Kong is more like... Again, people, you cannot relate to King Kong. If you're like, he's more relatable. No, he's not. He's a 100-foot fucking ape. That's not relatable. I'm sorry. I've said it before. I've said it again. My best day at the gym, okay, doesn't mean I can now relate to King Kong. Sorry, he's not relatable just because you can do that with his face, okay? When you get to a certain point, it doesn't matter what he is. You could be a 100-foot chinchilla. Doesn't matter. You can't relate to it.
I'd watch that movie.
I'd watch that movie too. The point is, 100-foot chinchilla.
It's just a big chinchilla dragging his butt around his
I know. 100-foot ape doesn't make a difference. You can't relate to them. So I don't want to hear he's more like us. No, he ain't. He's a primate. That's the only similarity we have. Beyond that, guess what? He might as well be a giant aardvark. You can't relate to him. Sorry. But yeah, and that's my point. I think, I get the feeling that, again, Kong also, didn't grow up as the top dog. I know he's speculative, but again, the adult Skullcrawler whooped his ass. Like, you watch that fight in Skull Island, he beat it by accident. His hand got stuck in its mouth, and when he tried to pull it out, he ended up, like, gutting it by accident. That thing was chucking him around. Like, those things killed his parents, killed his whole species. So that was the whole thing. Kong had to get the Skullcrawlers when they were young, before they got too big, so he could handle them when they were small enough. But once they got full grown, it was like, okay.
Well, and I still think that this is going to turn into a, Godzilla versus King Kong versus the actual bad guy.
Which I hope so. I know Adam Winger...
So they can have their little spat towards the beginning, and then they're like, oh, hey, look at that guy. He's fucking everything up for both of us. Team up.
Well, and again, that's the thing, because I know Adam Winger said that there will be a definitive winner in this movie, but at the end of the day,
That's why I'm saying if there's a third contender.
Well, and that's the thing.
The actual winner, there will be a definitive winner. It would be those two.
Well, and I hate to say it, but I mean, if Alan Jonah's goal is to kind of create a super monster with Ghidorah's DNA. I don't think, sparkly hands Kong would be the end-all be-all. I almost see Kong as like a stepping stone, like a first test, and then because of that, Kong goes wild, essentially, and starts running around doing stuff. But ultimately, Kong was like almost like a guinea pig. And I'm hoping the whole thing is that towards the end of the movie, the final product, so to speak, is revealed, and you're going to have a much larger, more dangerous, mutated Titan that is like, okay, this is what he was working towards. You know, Kong is just a lab rat that
I mean, again,
broke
the
loose.
fact that in the credits they even said that there was activity under
Your Skull Island, yeah.
Like, I feel it would just be odd if there wasn't another Titan that came into the mix.
I mean, who knows? They might make a super skull crawler. Again, it all depends if Legendary and Warner Brothers wanted to pay for the license of another Toho. Because a lot of people are saying Destroyer. That's been the big one. Because you've seen the Oxygen Destroyer in this film. So now the precedence for what makes Destroyer is canon in the Monsterverse. So technically, we could see something like that. And they've even said that in this film, it was the Oxygen Destroyer in this film was a prototype weapon. So it wasn't even like the finalized one. So maybe even with this technology, someone's making. We don't know. So, you know, if it's Destroyer, it's going to come down to, did they want to shell out the money to get the license to another one?
I sure hope they did.
I
want to see that.
I do too. But if not, if it is going to be an original creature, then, I mean, again, you know, the skull crawlers are coming from under the earth. They're coming from
Well,
under
that's the thing.
Skull
There
Island.
could easily be other Titans that are underneath too.
Oh yeah, I mean the sky's the limit. I'm just wondering if they're going to want to just maybe stick with something kind of familiar.
Yeah.
Kind of now.
But at the same time, I don't really know if I'd want. I mean, it'd be cool, but personally, I'd rather see something new than just more skull crawlers.
Well, yeah. Then again, it depends how much they altered it too. Like it's maybe kind of bridging, you know, the two worlds together. You're seeing maybe like a skull crawler with like Ghidorah feature. So it's kind of like you see something from the Godzilla universe and something from the Kong universe kind of mixed together. So it's like, you know, the hybrid of the two franchises, I guess, and therefore the two lead monsters from both franchises have to take it down. But this whole notion of one will fall. The only other thing we discussed that maybe it might be, if it is Godzilla that falls, let's say Godzilla will die. Let's say, let's say Toho said, okay, we'll let Godzilla die on one condition. Now, at the end of Godzilla vs. Destroyer, Godzilla's having his meltdown, his body's breaking down. And prior to that, you know, his son, Junior, is killed by Destroyer. But it's the radiation that just seeps from Godzilla's body when he literally has a meltdown that rejuvenates his son, brings him back to life, and kind of matures him to a full-grown Godzilla. So the final shot is this new Godzilla that has arisen from, like, you know, the nuclear ash of the former. Well, in the kind of credit sequence of King of the Monsters, you have, again, where they talked about mysterious egg found. This egg, you know, what is it? And we've even said that we think it might be a Godzilla egg. That's you said that.
I said that.
Yeah, you said that.
I mean, I could be wrong.
I'll
Take the blame if I am.
I mean, again, we don't know. We honestly don't know.
I mean, we saw what Mothra's egg looked like, where she hatched out of. It did not look like that at all.
And again, people, I want to, you know, so this is all just us, you know, shooting from the hip, conjecture,
That's what I want to
spitballing.
happen, because it would be awesome. I want a new baby.
We're not saying any of this with any kind of certainty. When the first trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong comes out, it could literally blow all these theories out of the water. We could be
The
completely
egg
wrong.
hatches, and it's Manila, and we're like,
But
no!
that's exactly like Manila.
Yeah.
They throw those big fruit in his mouth, and he's like, drop every nuke you have, kill it. Where's the Oxygen Destroyer? Throw it at it. But all the Titans are just fleeing in terror from the nightmare field that was Baby Manila.
the original.
Yeah.
Potato sack. It's fine.
It was fucking terrifying. I'm sorry.
It really was.
But that could be a thing. So it could be a situation where, like, okay, Godzilla beats Kong in a fight. He doesn't kill Kong, but when they finally go head to head, yes, Godzilla overpowers and beats Kong up. But then Godzilla has to maybe sacrifice himself again. He has to do something where he's going to die, and his death will lead to the rise of this new young Godzilla. And I also thought it'd be kind of sweet is that since technically Kong, in terms of movie history, came first, and Godzilla essentially was influenced by Kong in terms of their just choice to make, you know, Godzilla as a movie. Wouldn't it be interesting if the MonsterVerse were to continue some way somehow? If, you know, Godzilla vs. Kong's going to need to make money for that to happen. This Kong and then has to almost kind of like, I don't want to say raise, but almost like take this young Godzilla under his wing.
Yeah.
And kind of be like, you know, his influencer. Like he kind of realizes that, okay, the world needs a Godzilla. I'm not strong enough on my own to do what Godzilla does, but at the same time, and we've actually said this before, I think, in the, we actually talked about King of the Monsters, but again, this whole notion of like, you know, to keep Godzilla, and I know some people laughed when we said this, but from falling in with the wrong crowd, again, has to, you know, raise it. So again, this isn't anything we haven't said already, but again, I think that is how you do the whole, like,
Yeah.
one will fall, but still have a definite winner. Godzilla wins the fight, but loses the war. You know what I mean? But again, in terms of Kong being able to fight Godzilla, like, why now? Because again, based on how they've talked about in this cinematic universe thus far, no one is throwing Kong's name around in terms of fighting these bigger titans. I mean, they've mentioned that Kong exists. We know that he's out there. They name dropped him several times in King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
But again, when the chips were down and they thought Godzilla was dead, and they're like, oh shit, Ghidorah is taking over the world, how can we beat him? Nobody at Monarch was like, what about Kong?
Yeah.
His name never came up. And they know everything about him. And I think it's because...
Well, he was like one of the first they discovered, technically. In terms
I think, technically really kind of saw...
after Godzilla. Yeah.
But that's my point. So when people say, well, he's bigger now, yeah, he's bigger, but I don't think he's still this super titan yet. I don't think as he is now, it's enough. So I think something is going to happen. Someone is going to do something to Kong. I think they're going to experiment, administer, whatever. They're going to change Kong. They're going to basically turn Kong into a monster, basically.
I just thought of, and spoilers for Detective Pikachu, but the drug in that they were giving the Pokemon.
Oh yeah, when they're
Make him-
juicing up the Pokemon,
yeah.
make him stronger
Just that.
Well, or like Mewtwo. I mean, Mewtwo is a man-made Pokemon. They took it was Mew, right? One of the legendaries. Mew's a legend. I'm not a Pokemon fan, so if I'm wrong, please, I don't want to get a million comments about how wrong you are.
I'm cash.
Based on what I know about Pokemon, is that I know that
think that's how it's-
Mewtwo is man-made. The point is Mewtwo
Yeah.
is not a naturally occurring Pokemon. He was created artificially to be, I'm assuming, a weapon, right? If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but point is, you take Kong and you mutate him and you turn him into a variant version of Kong, which is now super powerful, super strong, bigger than the others, and has, sparkly hands basically now. So I'm just saying, I think that would make sense. And there goes our goddamn cat
This
going down
bitch.
the box again.
I got this.
She is so brazen. Yeah, run
yeah.
away. Run
She was
away.
like, she's just trying to get our attention.
Trying to get away with murder here. She's like, oh, you guys are filming? Oh, Come here. Come here. Come here. Now she's running.
She's smart enough to stay out of reach.
Yeah, but so basically, I don't know. That's again, this could be completely wrong. We're not saying we know this for sure. Like I've said before, no one's calling us. No one's asking us for our opinions. So we're not in that beautiful, beautiful writing room, giving our 2 cents. This is just us as fans speculating. Oh, she's foolish. She is so foolish. Get her. Get her. Get her.
He's the
There's our fluff monster. There's the culprit. There's the culprit. But she's itching to get away now. But yeah, so this is us just, the kind of conversations we've been having, just kind of spitballing with our friends, like Alex and Chris, and going like, would it be cool if, again, we could be completely wrong, but, from what I've seen from Godzilla King of the Monsters, they are really hearkening back to like the older films, and there's a lot of little things that are being done because it was done in the older film. So we've always just said like, yeah, it was random that Kong had electricity powers, but now they're like, okay,
it's not so much of a stretch to think that might be what they do.
It seems like they're finding ways now to take aesthetics.
That Biollante reference.
Yeah, I mean that had to be her. The desert blooms. I'm just like,
I mean,
come on. I mean, maybe we're wrong.
give me that good shit.
I know, give me. And Mike Doherty said he loves Biollante.
Dude, she's one of my favorites.
Yeah, so if he doesn't get a chance to put her in a movie or make it into the Godzilla movie, that might be kind of his way of like, okay, well, there you go. But again, I mean, if they're taking the aesthetics from the older film and then trying to find logical ways to make them exist in this monsterverse, okay, well, Ghidorah had lightning abilities. They have Ghidorah's DNA. Kong, before it didn't have lightning abilities, well, they know they want to use, Titan DNA to, weaponize potentially other Titans. There you go. That's how now you have King Kong, bigger, stronger, with electricity powers. Why? Because you just inject him with that, space dragon good shit, and now he's got it.
Actually, regeneration powers too.
That's right.
So he'd be a lot more. We wouldn't have to worry about him being all burnt. But I didn't even think about that.
That's a good point because Ghidorah can
Yeah.
grow his head back. So I'm not saying that Kong's ability would be that advanced.
Yeah.
But now Godzilla blasts him with his atomic breath, which in theory should be able to just annihilate a normal Kong. But now that Kong is like Wolverine. Basically, they're going to kind of like they're going to Weapon X Kong. I mean, I know Wolverine had the healing abilities before, but basically the adamantium claws was something he was given. Well, the electricity of power will be like what he's given, but in addition to that, he can regenerate. He's going to be physically more resilient. So yeah, he won't be as strong as Godzilla, but now he can take a beating from Godzilla and not
maybe
die.
He'll get some scales, so that'll be like his armor. It's all coming together. It's
his
all
body
coming
just
together.
scales up. I mean, that's the thing. We don't know. The only image we have of Kong from the new movie is that little promotional like banner they released where.
Oh, like the cave painting?
No, well, there was that, but like they've released the poster where it's just like kind of the neck and head of both, like kind of like coming at it, like Kong's like jumping up and kind of coming down at Godzilla, and Godzilla's just like But that's it. That's all we have of Kong, and quite frankly, that might not even be the final thing. They might be still hiding that. They might just want to have that as just the game. But they're showing you just the bare minimum of Kong, just to be so you can see, okay, it's him, and yes, he's bigger. But they're not giving you any more than that. Yeah. It's a very tight shot. And then there's that one cave painting. But again, I don't know. I think that would be cool because that would also lend
I don't know why else they would have the head. Like, why have that as a post-credit scene?
Well, they're going to do something. Well, again, Doherty even said that Ghidorah's DNA is going to unlock all this stuff in the future. But the next movie is Godzilla vs. Kong. Mm-hmm. And again, if at least one person in that movie said, well, maybe we should try using Kong, and even if they said, well, we can't control, or we don't want to risk unleashing, and if Kong's not going out there following Ghidorah's orders, we don't want to risk releasing him on our own, adding to the problem. Just something like that, I'd be like, okay, that's fair. But because nobody suggested Kong, nobody at any point said, maybe Kong can help. Maybe we should use Kong. Hey, what about Kong? Nothing. Nobody. Because if they're all thinking like, what the fuck is Kong gonna do? Kong can't do it. Godzilla's the only one who can do this. So I'm saying Kong naturally, I don't think is strong enough. Again, it's a movie. None of this is real. They could just, for the sake of convenience, be like, why didn't we mention Kong before? I don't know. Anyway, Godzilla vs. Kong, go.
How far we know all that footage that was cut.
I mean, who knows? I mean, again, they could just do that, and I hope not, because that'd just be lazy writing. But I'm hoping that they didn't mention Kong on purpose in terms of being able to fight, because Kong, as he is, naturally, even though he's bigger now, isn't strong enough. But if you...
I don't know, man. Again, the regeneration powers make it all make sense. I didn't think about it.
If you soup Kong up, you make him... And maybe this is when... I mean, I don't... They've never called him King Kong.
And then that doctor guy or the scientist be like, Jonah's got that ape juiced.
It's like your favorite line.
It's my favorite line.
Sarah's got that lizard juiced. I love that. And it always gets chuckles in the audience too.
So good. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, that's my point. So I think, and I also think doing that, it would really feed into kind of, again, the history of Kong, which is this tragic character. Basically, Kong, when Kong met man, when modern man met Kong, we destroyed Kong. We took something that was this amazing, aspect of nature, and we put it in chain, we bound it, and then we destroyed it. So Kong, he's this glorious titan, this big, proud ape.
Solitary. Keeps to himself.
And we pervert him. We mutate him. We turn him into a monster, basically. We're the monsters, and we create another monster. So the irony is that Kong is... I know it's like a hypocrite, but just to feed into it, fine. Kong is the most like us because he can smile. Fine. If that means Kong is the most human-like titan of all, then wouldn't it be just hubris then for mankind to take our closest link to the titans and perverse it? We do what we've always done with Kong, is that we ruin Kong. We take Kong off his pedestal, but in this case, instead of shooting him off a building, we turn him into a monster. We take this glorious beast, this amazing, beautiful titan, and we turn him into something horrific. We turn him into a monster, basically. And I think that would be fitting, because again, Kong's allegory is tragedy. Kong is a fallen character. So I like almost like now, instead of him being just literally fallen, he is kind of metaphorically fallen. We corrupt Kong. But I also think that, we might finally hear King Kong too. But although I did hear that the reason why potentially now he's never been called King Kong is that it might be a rights issue. Because I know that Kong is public domain, but the story of King Kong, the original film, the original story, is copywritten. So I think you can use Kong, but I don't know if you can actually call him King Kong.
Call him Kong King.
Yeah, you could do that. Emperor Kong. It actually sounds cool. Emperor Kong. But again, I think that's why in Skull Island they were saying Kong. Yeah, well, Kong is king around here, but they couldn't. They used to say Kong, they could say king, but they couldn't say King Kong. I don't know if that's the case. If not, they might just be holding back, and when they have this souped up Kong, they might be like, well, this is not a normal Kong, this is a King Kong.
Grandmaster Kong.
Grandmaster Kong. It just sounds like Kong is going to be doing just kung fu, and then he's going to want to put his Godzilla and just do this.
And he's just going to turn into an Uzara at that point? Grow tail?
Well, he basically is an Uzara. Just extend his muzzle and just give him the tail, and then you basically see what where's my good live action Dragon Ball movie?
Yeah.
But we don't talk about the other one. There's two actually, believe it or not. But yeah. So again, this could all be wrong, people. We don't know. But it's fun to talk. It's fun to speculate. It's fun to kind of. Because again, there's so much mythology and lore just from the traditional Godzilla franchise, but also what they've set up in the MonsterVerse. Having Ghidorah's head at the end, there's a wealth of possibility. Mm-hmm. And now my initial reservation is like, well, how are they really going to make Godzilla fight Kong? It's going to seem so forced. Now there's a really interesting way to do that, a really clever and fun way that prior to seeing the movie, I would have never suspected because there was nothing to suggest that. And based on what we've seen of the Kongs and from the Skull Island film, with how they talked about them, yeah, there was nothing to suggest they were going to grow up to be anything big enough or strong enough to fight Godzilla. But now it's like, oh, that's really clever. So I'm hoping that they utilize that in some way. I'm hoping it's not just a throwaway thing and they just, again, make Kong arbitrarily strong enough now to do the fight.
I'd be really surprised if it was a throwaway thing. I don't understand why they would have bothered.
And again, I hope it wasn't just for movies they hope to make after the fact, because there's no guarantee the MonsterVerse is going to continue after this movie.
I mean, I'll take the newspaper clippings, again, like the Violente thing. I'd love it. But I'm not expecting them to make a movie with Violente in it.
Yeah, because that's the end credit stuff. But
this was a post-credit scene.
Yeah, to me, post-credit sequences are supposed to lend themselves to the next movie. The news clipping thing should be like, okay, if we somehow are able to make
Easter eggs,
4, 5, 6 more movies, we can pluck from that news clipping, we can take from that news clipping.
And again, the fact that they had even said, like, there was 17 and counting, but we only saw... Besides Godzilla,
we saw Behemoth,
we saw
Scylla, what was that one called? There was the one in Germany. I hope we see Behemoth again. He's become like the big fan favorite. But again, I'm looking at him, I'm like, he's already bigger than what they've described Kong to be. So you already have this big gorilla-like, mammoth sloth type. Yeah. And I'm like, that looks bigger and stronger than even Kong. And no one was saying, hey, maybe, that's my point. So I think Kong, something is going to happen to him. And I hope so, because I don't just want to see the Skull Island Kong bigger. We've seen that Kong.
Yeah.
Do something new with him. Something that maybe in the Kong mythology we've never seen before. Because again, Skull Island broke new ground. Well, no. Skull Island broke new ground in the West. You had a Western Kong movie where Kong didn't die. Toho had ironically been the only ones who didn't kill him, never killed him off prior. Mm. So this could be something new. We could see a new kind of Kong, and I want that to happen. And they have the perfect avenue to do that because of the way they set it up. So I really, really hope they do something with it like that. Again, or maybe they won't. Maybe we're going to see the trailer, and it's just, yep, he's bigger, and I guess he's been pumping a lot of iron, and now he's just... stronger and
on Skull Island.
Yeah,
gym.
I mean, he's not doing anything else apparently, so maybe he's just doing CrossFit on Skull Island. And there's our movie, and if that's the movie, I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. It's a Godzilla movie if nothing else, but I hope they do something a bit more imaginative, especially because you've set it up so perfectly. So fingers crossed. Our hope is that we get, genetically enhanced Kong,
Palpatine Kong.
Palpatine Kong. Just Kong is just zapping up. Unlimited power! I don't know. Godzilla's like, the oppression of the Kongs will never return. But I don't know. That could be interesting. And again, maybe Godzilla will sacrifice himself some way, somehow, and that egg will hatch, and we'll have a new young Godzilla. That way, if the monstrous continues, we can maybe follow the adventures of this new up-and-coming Godzilla. And if it doesn't, well, we know that's the end of the franchise. It's the death of the old and the birth of the new. And that'd be kind of a poetic send-off, too. We don't know. But I do know that once that trailer drops, it's going to, probably answer a lot of questions. I hope so. But again, that's all this has been. Just us as fans, just having fun, saying, hey, maybe this will be the thing. So for some of you guys who might watch it and say, you're completely wrong, you know what? We could be. And again, we're not saying this with any kind of definitive, but you know what? That's what's fun we're doing. We're having fun. So if you guys don't want to have fun and speculate, then don't have fun and don't speculate. But that's what we like to do, so we will continue to do so.
She rejects me. She's rejecting me.
Yes, she won't run away. But anyway, that's all we wanted to do today, just kind of talk about it. But anyway, guys, so, what are your fan theories? Do you think we're completely out of our goddamn minds? Do you think we could be right? Do you think maybe there's something else that you guys saw, too, that we didn't even pick up on? Like, oh, that could be it. I don't know. Sky's the limit. And, as a writer of science fiction myself, when I see these kind of things put into stories and scripts, I'm like, wow, my mind starts racing with like the possibilities of what you could do with that, So, but I have no doubt that the creative team behind these movies are probably doing the same thing because, like us, they are Godzilla fans. So I'm sure they're seeing all these opportunities, going, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. So now it's just a matter of waiting to see which one they picked and which one they are going with. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Really, all I wanted to say is just kind of give out some of our fan theories. And for those of you guys who are King Kong fans, all jokes aside, we love King Kong. King Kong is cool. Yes, we're Team Godzilla, obviously, if you haven't figured it out by now. But with that said, we're not disrespecting King Kong because, honestly, without King Kong, we probably wouldn't have Godzilla. He is important. So I'll always give respect and love to King Kong. So don't worry. Just because we're giving little jabs doesn't mean we don't have respect and we don't give respect where it's due. But anyway, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace!